clerk please read item 4 into the record?
The report of the Transportation Committee, Agenda Item 4, Resolution 32166, granting conceptual approval to install, maintain, and operate a pedestrian skybridge over and across 8th Avenue North of Cherry Street as proposed by FHLLC doing business as Skyline in the first neighborhood. Committee recommends that the resolution be adopted.
Councilmember Saka, as chair of the committee, you're recognized to provide the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Council President and colleagues. Resolution 32166 would grant conditional approval for a skybridge across 8th Avenue between Columbia and Cherry Streets. The west side of the bridge would be in Council District 7, and the east side of the bridge would be in Council District 3. It's one of those unique bridges that crosses 2 council districts. The skybridge would bridge 8th to connect the 2 towers of the Skyline retirement community. The city's skybridge regulations generally discourage and disfavor skybridges. However, exceptions are sometimes made in order to provide for heightened accessibility for the elderly and certainly in certain differently abled communities. This skybridge is needed for residents of Skyline to visit each other and use the community's facilities safely, travel efficiently and effectively to their neighbors and have appointments and all those things and more. Public benefits associated with the skybridge include open space improvements, public art, and pedestrian improvements in the surrounding neighborhood. Now, if the council approves Resolution 32166, this resolution before us today, SDOT would work with Skyline on final documents granting the skybridge, which would ultimately boomerang back to us, come back to council as a council bill. So again, this is a resolution. Now that process includes final permitting from SDCI and other city agencies, negotiating terms of approval, including insurance and indemnification requirements, and recording a property use and development agreement, committing to maintaining the public benefit elements indefinitely, and may take between 6 and 12 months. So, Madam Council President, you asked about the typical time frame. I gave you a rough initial estimate of a few months to a few years, potentially, depending on the project. And for this, the estimation is between 6 and 12 months. Now, the Transportation Committee unanimously recommends that the council adopt the resolution before us today. And I'll just add some additional color commentary, 2 cents, if you will, onto this specific proposal. In a year plus or whatever the limited time that I've had the pleasure and privilege of serving as transportation chair, we routinely go through and consider any number of things like this: permits, vacancy. Like this is the nuts and bolts, bread and butter, if you will, of our committee. Outside of some of those exciting Seattle Transportation Plan or levy or Vision Zero or traffic safety camera enforcement things that we consider from time to time, this kind of thing is a routine course of business in the Transportation Committee. And out of the year plus that I've been serving as chair, I have not seen the amount of strong and overwhelming community feedback and support for us to take action and approve at this stage compared to any of the other similar requests that have come up. And the community members showed up and organized. It was very clear it was grassroots organizing. No one responded to an action alert. It was a grassroots effort because they care and they need this. And so, again, the committee unanimously recommends that council adopt this resolution, and I urge your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments?
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Transportation Chair Saka. I do want to second your point about the great Skyline community, who are a boisterous crowd, well organized and well reasoned for their request to have a skybridge. I did want to say, we should not generally be encouraging the Skybridges for different reasons, but for me, when there's a healthcare piece to this, kind of like what we see on First Hill generally, and this is located in First Hill, that we make that allowance because of the medical healthcare aspect of it, and that is resident here in the Skyline community between the Cascade building and the Olympic building. And because the facilities are on one side, but oftentimes, and people don't realize this, you have spouses who are living there, but then have to go over to, say, a memory care treatment or care, I guess I should just say, on one side, and then they're split. And this is a very difficult situation, and that one that we should not be separating. We should be joining them back together. And again, for that reason, that's my primary reason for supporting this. But I also want to thank and appreciate SDOT's interaction and work on this, because we started off at the very beginning with this request, but they've joined in, and this is where the public benefit comes in. There's going to be different improvements in First Hill in terms of intersection improvements, improvements along 8th, and then there's the loop. Walking loop, that is a new thing, and I definitely support that piece, because that's a definite public benefit. It's similar to Market to Mohi, but from that location down to Yesler and back. And so again, great public benefit, but most importantly, it's to support the community, particularly when it relates to medical health care provisions there at the community. And I do want to say that I'm not being parochial, but the Olympic building is definitely the best part of the Skyline community. The fact that it resides in the D7 part has nothing to do with it. Councilmember Hollingsworth, do you have anything to add?
Am I recognized, Councilmember?
Yes, you are.
I just, after that remark, I had to say something. I was just gonna let it go. Councilmember Saka said his piece, and Councilmember Kettle said his piece. But being the competitive person I am, people eat in District 3 Skybridge, Tower. So I just wanted to throw that there, that if you didn't have our bridge, you all would go hungry in the Olympic Tower. But anyways, thank you. Obviously, this is really important to the community, and just to tag on to what everyone said, I know this is, would love everyone's support, but also thanking Doug Palmer, who is the chair of the Skybridge committee at Skyline. So thank you all for your help, and looking forward to everyone's support. And thank you to the chair of the transportation committee for adding it on the agenda. So thank you, Chair Saka, and then obviously for the partnership with Councilmember Kettle. Thank you.
So I just wanted to add, and I voiced support in briefings yesterday, but if you say Skybridge, it brings up as much as maybe it can get controversial, just like alley vacation, etc. But one thinks of a long process for approval and a lot of different perspectives, etc. But this is not that case. When presented with the rationale for the need of it, of course, I was fully supportive and have been looking forward to our steps to move the project forward. I have to say that yes, you're right. That what I remember from that briefing is that it's not just that you might be that a couple could be separated by progressing needs, but clearly there are different functions on both sides of the facility, and so therefore it is important that we have to facilitate community and people being together. And so I was conceptually all in, and then I was invited to give a talk about something, or just basically meet folks at Skyline, and I went there, and when you experience the speed with which cars drive up and down that street, you recognize how hazardous it really is for anyone, no matter how abled, to get across that street safely. So this makes perfect sense. So thank you very much for shepherding this through to us today, Councilmember Saka, and you have my support. Will the clerk, unless there are other comments, will the clerk, do you want to say anything at the end? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Moore. Councilmember Rink.
Yes.
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilmember Saka.
Aye.
Councilmember Hollingsworth.
Aye.
Councilmember Kettle.
Aye.
Council President Nelson.
Aye.
7 in favor, none opposed.
The resolution is adopted and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Okay, there were no items removed from the consent